founder and futurist at Digital Wheel of Fortune. And welcome to my first interview. And it's my honor and pleasure to have one of the stable bricks of the travel industry, and Ian Ross, Executive Vice President at Travel Spike. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Rich. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. And appreciate the Batman. And what was the other?
It's a picture of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And you were inducted what year?
I was inducted 78 with the Ruddles.
So deserved. So well deserved. Right. So the topic obviously is going to be the future of travel. And, you have, again, a lot of time tested and long history, with the sector. And again, with the aspects of the Great Resignation, the aspects of post-COVID human lifestyles, and when it comes to future of work, there's a lot of cross-vertical aspects when it comes to travel, and there always was. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that, and then I'd like to talk about the newer, I'm not sure if you want to kind of call it a bubble, but pent-up information and travel requirements, I would say of us, as humans. Again, we're a humanistic aspect of it. And, we were seeing some of this right before Omicron. There was huge demand for travel. The airports were starting to get together. They were starting to feel new growing pains when it comes to staffing and scheduling and kind of everything like that. So we'll call it back to pre-pandemic and then Omicron. And now that Omicron has slowed down or almost gone, we're starting to see another increase. Are you experiencing that, with Travel Spike?
Yeah, we really have been. This has been, the company's been around for 20 years. We actually started right after 9/11. So you figure after 9/11, the financial meltdown of 2008 and the whole pandemic over the last 2 years, we've survived. So we've kind of taken on the motto, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We're now experiencing our best February in 20 years. And it's a combination of a lot of things. Right after, during the summer, when the pandemic kind of subsided, there was this increase in travel. A lot of the destinations I spoke with or have spoken with saw really record numbers this summer versus, the year before, and almost close to 2019. And then, of course, the world kind of shut down in December with regard to Omicron. But there still was this pent-up demand, and I kind of believe that the traveling public really wanted to get out there. And, each week we saw the numbers increase as far as those planning to take a trip, within the next 12 months, those planning to take a trip in the spring. So between that pent-up demand, the interest on the part of the travel and tourism companies, destinations, cruise lines, trains, lodging, tour operators, travel agency, all of this, they've invested in it. They're welcoming people, and they're starting to spend money to attract the leisure traveler as well as the business traveler. And then the other factor is we've been doing this for a long time. We have our place in the sand, and a lot of the things that we had put out there for the last couple of years or a year started taking hold, and we saw a lot of interest and a lot of booked advertiser business for this month through, the next quarter, which is good.
It's excellent news, and overdue. And again, I'll see what the future brings, and you did mention some really important aspects of the change of work habits, again, the Great Resignation, and also many of the reasons why people don't want to go back to the office, but they still want to work. And so Digital Wheel of Fortune tracks signals all the time across various sectors. And travel is one of the sectors, as you know, that I pay very close attention to. because of its cross vertical aspect, of it. So we're starting to see, we've had some fun words to kind of discuss what travel was. Staycation was something that was around for a while. Now we're starting to hear words like bleisure. So it's
Leisure.
a blurring the line of work and leisure.
Mhm.
So it is a very big part about why, or helping the airlines kind of, let's say crediting your airlines in some of the um, immediate growths that do kind of come by. But again, between the flight cancellations and staff shortages and stuff, it's been different. But it's energy. It's definitely a kind of a new demand. Plus, what we didn't have before, and again, what we always have now is better technology. And when it comes to just exactly what we're doing here, kind of like in the Zoom and technologies, obviously when it comes to your everyday computer and your ability with mobile phones, so that opens up so much when it comes to what else that we can do. I remember as salespeople, we used to always say we could work out of the back seat of our car. If we all we needed was a phone. So with the again new aspects of work, and I'm not going to kill myself for my company anymore or my job anymore, and let's see the world. So seeing the world is going to be a very big, again, a very big catalyst to travel. Obviously, more trips, hence more business trips, which is again needed, and the accommodations for the workers and hotels, all starting to kind of come back. My only problem with it is that is those half work things, the workations, and leisure really, will we get the rest that we're kind of expecting from travel. If we're always on, these were kind of some of the things that were always in the way when it came to 24-hour on timelines or something like that. Do you feel, I guess, based on some either offers or again experience, came to you in a dream? Do you think that the workation will satisfy both needs? Will take care of our jobs and our souls?
Well, it's a big question. It's a start. Let's put it that way. It's a start. It's no secret that the business traveler pays more for hotels, pays more for airfare than the leisure traveler. So the airlines, the lodging industry is certainly, ecstatic to welcome the business traveler back. If the first entry is a bleisure where they're away for 3 days and then they spend the weekend in the destination, that's a good start. So we're starting to see that, and hopefully it migrates into more of the business traveler. But you talk about technology and Zoom. Technology will enhance. I don't think it's going to replace totally all that we've done. I've been around long enough where I've always believed, it's great to press the flesh and see people in person. I've been averaging, though, about 8 Zoom calls a week with people. And it enables me to even get closer because you see them in their own environments with the Batmans and the pictures and their dogs and their babies in the background. Also, you're able to get multiple screens. When I got used to doing a lunch and learn in an office, now I could send Grubhub cards and Sugar Wish baskets to clients that are in San Francisco, Dallas, and Boston, and New York, and have a great call with 8 people and accomplish more than I do just being in an office. So the technology will enhance what we do. I don't think it's going to totally replace. I don't believe it will totally replace the need to be somewhere and see people in their environment, especially in the travel industry. My experience is I love taking these road trips because it gives me a chance to have a destination, an airline, a cruise line, a hotel come alive. So if we get the opportunity to work with them, I could see firsthand what works. So it's an evolution. And again, the pandemic put our industry on its ear. Now we grow from here, and we're taking the pluses from that and building on it and taking the negatives and turning them into pluses. So we'll just go from there. And I don't like to say it's a new normal. It's just enhancing and evolving where we've come from.
Time for growth everywhere. Now, another signal that that we track is the alternate stay. So the Airbnb and the constant Greco-Roman wrestling match that they have to have with with the hotel chains. There's been some recent information that, and again, as another cross vertical, new economy, that they have proven. Do you think that the hotels will, or have you seen anything about how they address the kind of B2B world? Where I don't know if it's either rate or again just something like an old custom or something like that by staying for 1 or 2 days, or kind of giving a little bit more of that homey feeling that you kind that seems to be working for the B&B. There is I'm trying to look at most. I just have some factoids here from Airbnb. Half the nights last fall were booked. Half of the trips were booked for more than a week, and where a fifth of theirs was longer than a month. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I have this, and there's even a large percentage, not an average, but growing percentage that stays for more than 3 months to a year. So I think, or what I try to think when those kind of signals is, can the hotels do something about that? I mean, either change the perspective, would I stay at a hotel for 3 months kind of versus going to like a B2B, an Airbnb?
No, but you may change. You may stay in a hotel. It's 3 months if you have the opportunity to work out of a hotel in Aruba or Bermuda. A lot of the Caribbean destinations are offering a work from home incentive. So you can go to an island and work from Bermuda, Barbados for 3 months. And so that's a plus there. But let me answer this in a couple of ways. One, the whole COVID thing gave rise to the VRBOs and Airbnbs. Everybody wanted to stay in a more controlled environment, their own home where they was sanitized and they could be on their own. And that's not going to go away. That's going to continue to be there. The hotels also are not going to mess with their ADRs or advanced daily rates or their occupancy rates. One of the big mistakes the hotels made during the financial meltdown in 2008 were dropping their rates. They realized that it was going to take years to get those rates back up because the consumer would then expect really low rates, and the hotel is not going to be profitable if they're having $78 a night, unless maybe it's Las Vegas. So the bottom line is the hotels, like everything else, are going to adapt to competing against the Airbnbs and the VRBOs and have solid rates and maybe certain incentives to keep the traveler, but also going back to your point about technology with all these contactless opportunities. You don't have to get a key. You don't have to check right in. You could just go right in, go to your room and stay there, not have anybody come in and clean it up for a few days. It's just your own room, your own office. And there's some comfort in that as well. So COVID, again, has put that side of the industry, the lodging side, on its side, but it too is adapting and will continue to adapt with the way the modern traveler will be, and that being the business traveler.
The perfect segue into the biometrics aspects, and which obviously falls into the same category of safety. Again, another cross vertical aspect of it. So there's been so much information, so much, I would say, investment in the biotech world. Again, another signal, or I guess that's really more of a trend, these days. And were you at the Future Travel Experience Global Conference in Las Vegas last December?
Was I there? No,
yeah.
I was not.
Wow. a crazy, crazy bunch of people, man. I'm telling you, these biotech people.
I'm trying to
But it
stay away
does.
from I'm trying to stay away from crazy people, Rich.
Oh, good luck.
I have a family to deal with.
So what I guess everyone knows from the airlines, from the government, and I guess again from your safe parenting to right down to your children, that you want a safe trip, right? And you want safety both from a terrorist and from a virus. And
or unruly passengers.
Yes, we'll definitely. We're they're working on a no-fly list for that. That as well. Maybe we'll come back to that. So boosting the uh, travel safety overall aspect of it would obviously have very kind of big influence on the people who are on the fence. Again, and about wanting going someplace or going to the airport or kind of dealing with things like that. So having a singular travel credential, a mobile ID, or anything that would work even in some other biometric aspects when it comes to facial recognition, voice recognition, others kind of devices. There last year, the from typically in the biometrics industry, it's been growing for the last, say, 5 years on anywhere between $3 to $5 billion a year. Last year, it went up 500. Investment in the biometrics went up $500 billion across all players. And but I discovered that there's really been no change. Right, so everyone's got the money now, and again, what's old is new again. This reminds me very much of a lot of early internet. When it comes to, people dumping money into a sector or product or something like that, and with the hopes that it obviously would grow. Any investments like that, but I've learned that biometrics hasn't really technically hasn't grown, and so everyone is probably working on it with all their elves and things like that, in the background, on all this. But scale continues to comes up across all of my futures work when it comes to real solutions. And again, I know in the digital industry, we talked about scale, and we always talk about scale and how it's needed. But can you see, again, just from your personal experiences, from what you've seen and heard, and all of that, a one official travel kind of verification? And I know there's been, like, I remember pre-pandemic there was something like that, like Clear.
Well, I was going to mention Clear. So I joined Clear about 3 years ago, and I think that's just evolving. I mean, it's great to be able to just go in, have them look in your eyes, scan you. You go to the front of the line and you go through checking. And if you have TSA pre-check and Clear, you're basically free and clear to get right through the head of the line and through security. But I also went to a ballpark 2 summers ago, and they started using Clear. So Clear started within the travel and tourism industry, and I could see it extending throughout. And that's just one sign of using this technology to just enhance the travel and tourism, the travel trip.
Right.
So I think we've just scratched the surface, and like everything else, there are players that are jumping in, there are investments that are being made, and maybe a couple will survive. But I think we've learned now over the course of the last couple of years, we need that more. That said, there may be a safety card to travel with. Everybody talked about having that vaccination card. I also still believe that just personal hygiene, the wearing of masks, the washing of hands, the sanitizing will keep us all safe and healthy, in addition to these other things. So it's all a work in progress. And quote unquote, thanks to COVID, we've now been forced faster to think of these things to enhance the trip and our lives.
Right. So
did that answer your question?
It does. Just again, as more of a personal opinion from someone who's traveled a lot and kind of knows the business, and And, again, back to technology, we're going to require some kind of global infrastructure, that to be able to, manage that. And it does sound kind of cute that, maybe those same technologies will allow us to, again, get a taxi like right away when we land, or confirm
look at Uber, for example.
Hmm.
When we all started out, we had to take a wad of cash with us when we traveled, and we had to hail cabs. And then after a while, cabs took credit cards, and now Uber has replaced the cab. So you could literally not have to rent a car when you go to any destination.
Right.
Call Uber to take you down the block, across the bridge, or down the road. And it's easy, it's efficient, and you just wipe your hands when you get out. And I think that, Uber has been that other technological advance, Uber, Lyft, I think it's enhancing the travel trip.
Right. And it's we'll leave it back to the experience of travel, which I'm hoping everybody gets back or hasn't forgotten about, or kind of anything like that. Obviously, 5G is going to make a very big difference, in all of these technologies, when it comes to, instant approvals, right, and kind of downtimes. And again, another cross vertical that I pay attention to and see what 5G can do and can't do. And, all the way across from sports betting, again, in coming to, instant verification, right? Because you don't need any delays or things like that.
Right.
I do want to go back to the experience of travel experience, kind of as a whole, kind of the whole holistic aspect of it. And I will not be paying any attention, in general right now, again, because of the signals of any VR and AR replacements. Again, back to technology, in replacements of the experience, because, I do feel and do hear things like that people are afraid of the metaverse, or afraid of some of these other technologies that, oh, I want to go. Maybe I want to be, naked in the sand in Hawaii. Why do I have to do it virtually? And, I'm hoping the trend doesn't allow, it doesn't continue to saying, please go. No, no. None of these technologies are asking you to stay home and, not go to a football game, or not, again, go on a trip, or kind of see your doctor. They're just supplementary. They're going to be something that's,
Look, nothing is ever going to replace the fact of being someplace in person. Again, looking at what's gone on over the last couple of years, that quote unquote pent up demand, that interest, people will always want to go away. And in essence, what the last years have done is moved up everybody's quote unquote bucket list, Rich, right, in that people are not saying one day I'm going to go to Tahiti and Bali, and one day we're going to trek over the Himalayas. Tour operator and travel agency friends of mine have said people have moved up their bucket list because they may not get this chance again. And so, again, is it COVID? Is it technology? Now with connected TV and big screen living room quality TVs, you could take a tour of the Himalayas and say, you know what? Now I'm going, and go. Or using, virtual reality or 360-degree views of hotel rooms and all that. You could say, all right, now I could see what the room looks like, and the lobby, and the lobster bar. I'm going to go. So we're all moving forward based on the technology, but that will never, I firmly believe, will never replace the fact of being there in person.
Amen. Yeah. So considering that hype around it, I forecast and see that hopefully the air industry is already working on that. Just as you said, for them to keep an open mind about some of the opportunities that these technologies do allow, to supplement and or inspire, your travel, your next travel set. The inspirational stage is, and I don't remember again. Do you remember how many before the pandemic? How many travel touch points the average traveler would see or review or something like that before the actual?
There's always been the 5 stages of travel. The first few being experience and planning and traveling, and then sharing and all those things. But I'm not sure about all the touch points, other than trying to capture people from the moment they decide they want to go somewhere to the moment they book their trip. That pre-booking activity, right, that's where we as a company see the most value in working with people.
and this is where, again, I see the biggest opportunity for, the metaverse and other experiential technologies, to, actually, assist in that. As you mentioned, see what the lobby looks like, or see what the, excursion, would show you, or something like that. Kind of, kind of put you halfway there, kind of mentally, you're already in, put your butt in the seat in the plane, and but before purchase, or actually, kind of allow. There's a term that's coming up a lot more, again, both in the technologies and stuff like that. It's called digital twins. Have you heard of a digital twin?
I have not, but
So,
I thought you were my digital twin.
we are. um and but mostly on the high holy days, but kind of unusual. We're just kind of, the digital twin kind of crosses again, various verticals when it comes to having a hard object, a infrastructure of a network, a game that you're opening, anything like that. When you have that, and then you have a digital version of it, right? And then, so that's your digital twin. So putting your digital, Ian Ross twin, and kind of taking it to see where it kind of wants to go, and how you kind of, fit in it, and, kind of foods that you even like, and, and kind of any number of things. So the digital twin in the metaverse is a forecast that we could see a lot more of that kind of going on. So, keep an eye out for, kind of for that kind of stuff, and those other kind of technologies.
Okay.
So the other growth, and again, there was some of this already, pre-pandemic, which is going to be the kind of global, environmental aspect of travel. Again, both, and we're seeing it so much more now when it comes to sustainability, and kind of expectations for both, the big corporate world, and personally. We've identified some other signals and such when it comes to that, but it was a bucket list of mine, when I was at Orbitz, to go to Costa Rica, and Costa Rica, I remember, did have a environmental package, right, for users. I mean, for visitors who wanted to go and, again, experience, some much more deeper aspects, of that, and take a part of it. So we're starting to see some technologies. There's a company called, I believe it's Archer, that is working with United Airlines, who has put in $1 billion order with this company to produce a environmentally friendly airplane. So it's all electric, no nothing, no fumes, nothing else kind of going out there. The entire global air industry has committed to reach carbon zero by 2050, which is right around the corner, whatever.
Right down the block.
Right down the block. So here we go again across, various different technologies, right? So climate, initiatives being